Reporting live from San Diego, California, Carrie Daryl. Also reporting live from Vancouver Island, Daryl McIntyre.
Hello.
My two very good friends from CTV News are my guests on the podcast.
Reluctantly.
This podcast brought to you by homegirls.ca, a top producing team at Remax Professionals, and thompsonmortgages.com. They take care of the financials. You search for your perfect home. The combination of these two sponsors has helped me facilitate multiple real estate transactions, including my most recent move right here in 2025. Now here's today's show.
Reluctantly.
How you doing, Terry?
Terrific, Daryl. It's great to see you. You look awesome.
Oh, you're a
Carrie, you
kind
as
man.
well.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to see your face because usually we just hear your voice.
Well, yeah, I suppose it's kind of been like that for decades. You two being the faces of television news in Edmonton and beyond for the longest time, and me not, thankfully.
But we're kind of the OGs, right?
Yeah. Well,
That's funny.
you know, you're right. By the way, you're in San Diego. Are you like
Yes.
is that a Pentagon office? What's with the map on your wall?
I know. We travel a lot. We're kind of obsessed with maps. So no, I've invaded my husband Steven's office because I don't have one set up here yet.
You just
So
moved there,
it's
right?
Well,
Like
ish.
full.
7 months ago we
Yeah.
moved. We've relocated our whole life and our family and all the things.
Well, you're not the only one that's relocated recently. Daryl, you
Mhm.
have also
Mhm.
relocated. You're retired from not only television, but also your radio stint and are now living on Vancouver Island. You've said goodbye to the acreage and the horses and all of the business here in Edmonton, and away you go. Now you're an islander.
From country to the coast. That was the plan. Yeah. Swap out the skid steer and the 1-ton dually 4x4 and the horse trailer, and then look at buying a boat. Haven't done that yet, but we will.
What did you do with your skid steer? I might have been in the market for that.
Neighbor across the road who helped to maintain it all the time, he got first dibs, so that's where it went.
Carrie, have you ever driven a skid steer, or is that something you do?
Oh, yes, I know what he's talking about. I grew up on a farm, small town, Alberta, the town of Fairview in between Grand Prairie and Peace River. Mom and Dad were farmers. So Daryl and I were connected in many ways. When I sat beside him, we spoke the same farm language.
Daryl, you also grew up on a farm?
I did. North of Vermilion. It was a grain farm for the most part. We had a few animals, some chickens, some cattle, that kind of stuff, but it's mostly a grain farm.
No, I recently did a podcast with Danny Hooper, who I've often accused of having the softest hands in show business.
How do you know that?
Yeah, I don't want to. No wonder the podcast is called Reluctantly.
Full stop.
Anyway,
just from shaking his hand, greeting him at events.
They're that soft?
Danny Hooper said that growing up on the farm out by Tomahawk, out west of Wabamun and Seba Beach, there, he left the farm for his safety and the safety of others.
Fair.
So that telling me that both of you have more farm experience than Danny Hooper ever would have. And, it's especially impressive on both your behalfs with equal reverence.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. More country than Hooper. Perfect. Love it.
Yeah. Yep. I'll
So,
take it.
grain farm for Daryl, and was it a livestock farm or also a grain farm for you, Carrie?
We had both during when I was a child, and then Dad focused mostly on grain. So I saw it all growing up. I mean, we did our own butchering. We butchered our chickens. We had cattle there as well, and all of our meat and eggs, everything came from the farm. I think the only thing that Mom used to buy in town was the essentials like flour, sugar to bake with, and everything else was homemade. I was the youngest of 10 kids, so
Yeah, we
she
can
was
tell.
a powerhouse. What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, the babies. I'm also the
We're
baby.
special.
So, yeah, we
We're
are
special.
We are special.
How many kids were in your family, Daryl?
Less than hers.
Everybody had
Everybody
less
was
than
less than
hers. My God, your father never gave your poor mom a break.
I know. I told him that over the years. Why? She had enough on the go. Daryl got to meet a lot of my siblings over the years.
And parents. Yep.
And parents. You knew my mom and dad loved him. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was when they finally got to meet him, that was a big deal. I was just sitting beside Daryl McIntyre. Come on.
How
Pretty big
many
deal.
chickens How many chickens have you killed, Daryl?
A lot. 1,000.
Really?
And eaten them too. Yeah, we had chickens and we'd butcher them at home as well. So the most we ever had was me, my mother, and my grandmother. We did 200 in a weekend, just the three of us.
That's a lot.
It was
Did you have that wheel with the rubber fingers on that would get the
Yes,
feathers
plucker,
off and it go?
the plucker.
Is that what it was called?
We didn't have it
Yeah.
initially. I know, Terry, you're just fascinated by this. We mostly just had a wash tub with a tiger torch underneath, and then you buy this stuff called Quick Pick, and it'd put it in, it would loosen the feathers and pull them off. The plucker was a very useful tool, but it could also tear the skin. So,
I didn't know that. My mom must have had soft hands like Danny Hooper then.
The plucker was a useful tool, but could also tear the skin. Maybe you were standing too close, Daryl.
No, it's just got to be careful. You got to be careful when you use your tools. That's important.
Soft hands.
200 in a weekend. And Carrie, like when you said you butchered and everything like that, I was almost going to be facetious, but you butchered, killed chickens and stuff too.
Usually my older sisters were the lucky ones that got the full responsibility of helping out. I was just the noise in the background often, but I was always there. I knew what was going on, and it was quite traumatic when I was a kid to see what they were doing. And then when I'd invite friends over, they're like, "Oh my gosh, who are you people?" But then they would have dinner and they kept coming back for more. So, farm raised, nothing beats it.
Was it was it as good as a Hutterite chicken or
better?
Better.
And you know what else we had? I don't know if you had this, Dee. We made our own homemade sausage and a smokehouse on the farm. We had a smoker. Oh my gosh, my dad's sausage was bomb. It was so good. I still crave that to this day. That's the only sausage I would eat. Yeah.
Just growing up on a farm, and especially when you talk to somebody who's lived in the city all their lives, and then, to them it sounds like, well, you lived in the olden times then, when you just, every 2 weeks you'd go to town for provisions, etc.
Right?
But that is how we sort of grew up, right?
It was.
We lived 12 miles out of town. You're not going to waste fuel going to town unless there's a reason.
Get real.
And then raising your own, and life on the farm is an awful lot different than the urban world. So.
Yeah.
It was a good way to grow up. It was a great way to grow up.
Agreed. I could drive. I had a Yamaha 80 motorcycle. I drove that when I was 8 years old, and I also had a Skidoo. I have a picture of myself on my Skidoo when I was 5.
What did you have for farm implements and vehicles of destruction, Daryl?
I didn't. I never got to have a motorcycle, but I did have had a snowmobile. So I'd rip it around, go to the friends. We'd actually make it all the way into Vermilion, like 10, 12, 15 miles away, and go ripping up and down the Vermilion River. On a Polaris Colt SS 340 is what I had. It was fun. It was the only independence you had in the wintertime.
That's
Unless
right.
your parents were driving you into town, you didn't get to go anywhere. Just sit down, find something to do your chores or do whatever. So that
right.
snowmobile was like freedom. It was very cool.
Okay.
I only almost killed myself a few times, so it was good.
Me too. When I graduated to the Yamaha 100 when I was about 11, it was really tall, and I was going down a mile to babysit. That was my summer job. So I'd take the motorbike and I'd go babysit. And you can imagine a big motorbike on gravel. Like, you have to know what you're doing. Yeah, you have clutch. That's why I always had a standard when I had a vehicle, because I was so used to having a clutch on my motorbike. So I'm like, how do you drive something where you're not shifting? You need to shift.
It's not driving.
So it's not. That's not real driving.
You got to listen to the whine of the engine and react accordingly.
And throw the gears down when you want it to go fast.
Is this where you thought this conversation would go, Terry?
Probably
As
not.
you were doing your extensive prep for the two of us. Is this where you thought it would go?
Honestly, I thought it would be fun to spend an hour or something with the two of you, because the first thing that I thought, cheers. The first thing I thought was, I wonder how long it's been since the two of them have spoken to each other.
Well, we text in short, just like the modern way of doing things. I don't think we talk as much. We text a lot still.
Didn't you text me a couple of weeks ago about something?
Yeah,
I don't remember what it was. No, we keep in pretty close contact.
Yeah. I haven't seen you, though. We went out for lunch probably, it's over a year anyway. At least over a year.
That's right. I haven't seen you either, because it was like we kept missing each other, but we do keep in very close contact.
14 years on the air together. Was that the number?
Yes.
Sounds about right. Yep.
Yes.
Carrie, your husband Steve and Daryl, your wife Mary. Obviously, you having the proximity, the work. Was there ever the reference to the work husband and work wife? I know sometimes there's the accusation, or not accusation, but there's the label of the work husband, work wife when you have two anchors on the sharing the desk.
Yeah. Always. I mean, we always got it, but it was just from the gosh, I think the first time I ever read a newscast where I filled in with Daryl, it was so natural and it was so easy and it was just it felt right. I can't speak for Daryl, but I didn't have to think being beside him. It was just always a natural connection from the very beginning. And what was also natural was how our spouses got along because we actually traveled together. Daryl and Mary came to see Stephen and I on a trip through Italy, and we
It was a
spent
great
several
excuse. Thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome. We had so much fun together. And you know what's crazy, Terry, is how well Daryl and I are aligned on so many things, and Mary and Stephen are aligned. And Mary and Stephen used to get together and laugh their heads off. Like all of us would be laughing at different things. But like Mary and Stephen, for example, are so adventurous in their palates and what they will eat. Remember, I'm going to say this, remember the pigeon at that one Italian restaurant? It is
Yeah, let's have
considered,
some
I think,
squab.
ugh. And Daryl and I are like, what is happening? And we were like, no, here's the two farm kids not touching that. I will not eat pigeon. And I think
The
it's a
rats with
delicacy or
wings.
ugh. We
Yeah.
took one look at it and I think it was a set menu. We went to this Lala Shishi restaurant, thought we would try it. Oh my gosh, what a disaster. Oh, but Stephen and Mary, they were having a great they plowed through that pigeon like it was nothing. And Daryl and I are like, why don't you get us another glass of wine and we'll see what else is on the menu.
The whole work wife, work husband, when you work that closely with somebody, and we would spend 8 hours a day, Monday to Friday. And so obviously you either get along or you get divorced, and we never got divorced. Well, she finally left me, but yeah, there was obviously a connection there.
And the other interesting thing was we sat, 2 feet apart all day, every day when we were like from Monday to Friday because our desks were literally beside each other in the newsroom. And then on the air, we were 2 feet apart all the time. I mean, we've been involved in so many different aspects of each other's lives. He was there, when my kiddos were born. He was the MC at my wedding. He wrote the most brilliant song and sang it at my wedding. And yeah, I've like all of those years are filled with memories of you, Dee. So what a gift. That's how what a gift and what a privilege to find someone you click with that well. And it was real. It was never forced. Like the only thing we would determine, this was Dee and I, is in the commercial break, we would never pre-discuss what we were going to talk about during chats. All we would say is, you go, or you start. And then who knows where it would go, kind of like this podcast. Start talking about the farm.
Yeah, that was just logistics, so we didn't talk all over each other as we came back. But yeah, other than that, everything was whatever came out of our mouths, unless it was a scripted news story, which you've got to have the script there to make sure all the facts are correct, etc. But all of the personality or the ad libs or the in betweens, you never knew where the heck that was going to go, and often it went to places we weren't expecting. But that was all right. That was fun. That was part of the fun of it.
And one of the gifts I'll give Dee credit for, Terry, that we knew each other so well, we could almost finish each other's sentences. And there were days too that sometimes the news was really hard to deliver. And one story in particular I'll never forget. I think it was the Littleton shootings where there was a gunman that opened fire in a kindergarten classroom. And what Dee used to do was he would say, Dolly, you need to watch this story before we go to air. You have to watch it because it would really affect me. And I would, as I'm delivering it, I would think like the parents that are watching, the people that are affected by this, and oftentimes, not sometimes, my emotions would get the best of me. And during that Littleton shooting, we began the newscast with it, and I had watched the story, and my voice cracked, and I stopped talking mid-sentence. I couldn't go on, or I was going to burst into tears, and Daryl picked it up without a delay. He just knew, and he just finished the sentence for me and kept going.
Because I was the heartless one and she was not.
No, you weren't. You were
just-
we were connected.
Yeah,
You
always
are
were.
such a big softy. You've put on that facade for years, and he is like the most gentle, sweet soul that shows up for everybody.
Is there, Daryl, is there a story that got you similarly to what Carrie is talking about?
Oh yeah, there were tons of them. I don't know that any one jumps to mind, but I was always of the mindset, and it all goes back to, because I'm older, right? Thinking about how somebody like a Walter Cronkite was. So I remember a story about Walter Cronkite during a tragedy, an American tragedy, and that he was considered to be the person that people went to for the information, and also just to feel like it's all going to be okay. So in his role, it was you never let the emotions get the best of you. You continue to focus on the job. So that's what I always tried to focus on. Now, did it hit you? Yeah. And then I would drive down those feelings just because it was important to keep doing the job and tell people what was going on, and not allow that to happen. Now that's the way I worked for me, so that I didn't avoid the emotion. I just pushed it out of the way until after a newscast. I had a few moments after a newscast when it was done and off the air that everything would sort of hit a little harder. But when we were on, then we had a job to do. So I just focused in on that.
It was before we were all born, but I'll never forget the footage, the black and white footage of Walter Cronkite announcing the death of John F. Kennedy, and when he took his glasses off,
Yeah.
which, like I said, that happened in '63 before we were all born.
I was 3 weeks old, kids.
You were 3 weeks old.
I was 3 weeks old. Yeah, there you go.
Why did I think you were younger than me?
I don't know, because I act it. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, regardless, I just that moment, and we've all seen it probably, and if you haven't, it's easily Googleable. The moment that he takes his glasses off and he shows that that human element to him for such like a historical moment.
But in a moment, let it be, and then went on with the job and focused in on what was important to his viewers at the time. So yeah, showed some, but focused on the job first of all. That's what I always just focus on the job, and everything else can figure itself out after the newscast. But we both were much the same way.
I guess to a certain extent, you like that connection. The people as a viewer want to feel a connection to the people on the anchor desk, or even a reporter or something like that. And there has to be a certain amount of humanity. But at the same time, you can't be gushing and blubbering over how cute a dog is at the Westminster Dog Show or something like that. Because if you break down and start blubbering every second story, then it's you kind of lose the credibility, I suppose, right?
Yeah. To legitimize what you just said, Terry, that night during that story when Daryl took over for me, it was clear that I was emotionally moved, and what moved me in the story was the element they talked about, how the kindergarten teacher took all the children into the bathroom in her classroom, and she made them all stand on the toilet, and so that they couldn't see their feet. And she went around as she could hear pop, pop in the background. She looked at each student in the eye and she told them that she loved them. And this was in the story. And she said, I wanted those to be the last words, if that was their last moment that they always heard. And when that came out I was a wreck. And what was beautiful about that was I was flooded with emails from viewers after that they appreciated, but more than anything, they understood the moment. They said, we were right there with you, Carrie. And they loved that Daryl was like my rock in that moment. But it was humbling to get that feedback, because you always worry. You try to keep it together, and I was not nearly as good, but Daryl was my rock in so many of those situations.
But that's why I think it worked too, because we're not the same person. We worked well together. We complemented each other, but we weren't the same person on the air. So you got two different individuals, and hopefully each appealed in their own way, in our own way, I guess.
Reluctantly.
This podcast reluctantly sponsored by ThompsonMortgages.com. not limited to just mortgages. They also provide insurance. Almost any service associated with a home or building purchase can be done in-house. And for anything beyond that, they have an extensive network of professionals at their fingertips. Consolidations, loans, mortgages, legal services, accounting services, financial planning, insurance. They are your one-stop shop. How do I know this? Well, Mike at ThompsonMortgages.com has helped us out with our mortgages for the last few real estate transactions that we have made. You can be confident that they will work hard to ensure all your mortgage and insurance goals are fulfilled. Check them out for yourself. ThompsonMortgages.com.
Reluctantly.
Carrie mentioned that you sang at her and Stephen's wedding.
Yeah.
An original song?
Yeah, it's called The Grocery Baron and the TV Princess.
It was brilliant.
Stephen's family had a couple of Sobeys stores back in the day in Sherwood Park. So I called him the Grocery Baron and she was the TV Princess. So
Are you still playing a lot? Are you still noodling a bit? Are you doing any performing or
No.
what?
No, not an awful lot. Getting to summertime and been learning, sailing and going on boats and that kind of thing, and the people visiting. So I sort of held off, and I'll hopefully pick it up again in September. I have this weird mind block that doesn't allow me to do it, and I don't know why. I need to get out of my way because I enjoy it when I do. I just haven't been doing it an awful lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I've written a few songs, but nothing recently, and certainly not performing in front. There's tons of open mic nights here in the Comox Valley. And there's one 3 blocks from my house that happens every Wednesday night. So eventually I'll figure it out.
You could just put your guitar over your shoulder and walk there.
I could. It takes about 3 minutes to get down to Gladstone Brewery and about 10 minutes to stagger back.
That is a regret. I will say this, and on the music front, a regret of mine is that you and I didn't jam together. And this is where I was raised in a very musical family, and I'm a classically trained pianist. So I have my grade 9 in piano and my theory 4. But this is funny, after being on television all those years, I did recitals as a kid, but I would never, ever get up unless I had a lot to drink. And it did happen a few times, and play in front of people, play the piano or sing. And I don't know why we didn't do that, because you could, or did we do that?
The closest we ever came, we were doing was it an MS ride or a cancer ride where we went on horseback out in Donnaberry, the Donnaberry Inn.
Donnaberry Inn,
the Donnaberry Inn north of Edmonton.
Yes.
What was that? I can't remember, by Athabasca. And then they had an RV for us to stay in. And I brought my guitar and we stayed up till about 4 a.m. singing and playing around. That was the closest we ever came. That was ridiculous, but that was fun.
It was fun.
The Donnaberry Inn.
Great time. Yeah.
I don't know.
But there was just a group of you in the RV, and
just he and I.
Us.
That's what we do. We get together, and I didn't have my guitar. I think you had your guitar, and we sang songs.
Yep.
And would laugh our heads off. Yeah.
Oh, if only there was some B-roll of that.
No.
Gosh.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness we were not in an era of cell phones. That would have been late 90s?
Oh,
no.
Early
2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s. But that was us. I remember a memory that Daryl and I got to go to this big CTV. Was it an anniversary party or something?
No, that was the most misguided thing ever, as it turned out. It was the Save Local TV thing in Ottawa.
Is that what that was?
It was Save Local. So CTV, in all its wisdom at the time, and certainly local television as it is now was starting to struggle, and that was sort of the beginning of it. And so they had a gathering where they flew in all their 6 o'clock anchors from across the country to Ottawa to say, we need to save local TV, we need help. Well, and then they threw this huge party after everything. And so that, optics wise, that looked really good. We're really poor, but we've just flown everybody in and thrown an enormous party for free. So it was not smart, but we had a blast. We had an
my gosh. I'll never forget the day that we found out we were going to this party in Ottawa.
It was supposed to be fly in Monday. The whole event was Tuesday, fly back on Wednesday, which seems stupid to us.
So Daryl says, Dolly, I got an idea. So go ahead, tell what the idea was.
If we're supposed to fly Monday, what's the difference? Make them fly us in on Friday. And then we can get our own hotel rooms and stuff like that. And we'll hang out in Ottawa and we'll go and enjoy the city a little bit.
No,
And
we
went,
went to Montreal.
I know, but then we went, oh, screw that. Get them to fly us to Montreal because that'll be more fun.
Totally.
So we did. We flew in, and we had our week.
Oh my gosh.
It was ridiculous.
We partied the night away that first night. Let's be honest. I
Yeah,
think it was like
good.
4 a.m. or 5 a.m.
Yep.
when we shut it down. He and I went dancing together. We found all the cool clubs. We did it all that night.
Well, we thought it was cool at the time. Who knows if it actually was? But yeah, we
We
had a
found
great
an
weekend.
80s bar, remember?
We did find an
It was
80s bar, yeah.
Great 80s bar that we shut down. And then I remember too, when we got together with all the anchors, it was a little too dry for us. And both Dee and I are like, we got to kick up this party. So we got the drinks flowing and we got a few of the stuffier anchors talking.
And got him to come
And,
down to the lounge. So we ended up taking over the
yes.
entire hotel lounge down there and just ripped it.
We brought the party. God, that was fun.
Daryl's having a little bit of a drink right now, and
My Ron Burgundy moment.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
Daryl and I have tipped a few back, hanging out in
No doubt.
one place or another.
Over
Carrie,
some 30 some odd years, I might add.
Yes,
Over a long time.
Carrie, are you a wine person? Do you like the hard stuff? Are you a mojito? Do you like the seltzers? What's your go-to?
I am a tequila girl. Like I love I love a good tequila. Yes. So that'll be my first choice as I love, usually I drink cocktails, but it has to be a good shaken margarita. And I want them to respect the taste of the tequila in it. And it can't be not sweet. So it has to be shaken. And I love like a full tahini rim. I'm like, it has to be a spicy marg. I love the spice. So my mouth's watering thinking about it. Love tequila.
I thought you were thinking like shots.
Stephen, can he fetch me a
Oh,
margarita?
he makes the best spicy marg. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's really good at it. So
That's
yeah,
funny.
he's a good man. He makes lots of good margaritas. So I do like my wine, but I'll choose a margarita, good shaken margarita any day over a glass of wine.
Well, you're down in San Diego now. You're not very
Yeah,
far from
that's right.
from Margarita Central, and the tequila region in Mexico. Do you like? Is it just mixed drinks with tequila, or do you like a good sipping tequila as well, like some of the really good stuff?
Yes, I will sip it too. And there's a brand I love called Código, and they make it's called Rosa, and it's like a rosé, and you just put like a rosé tequila, a ice cube, and it's beautiful. And you don't get the hangovers from a good tequila that you
That's
would
right.
from wine, unless you're drinking wine in like Italy or, Napa, where they're not adding all the sulfites to it, right? Because I've drank my fair share of wine in Italy. And I woke up in the morning thinking, as Dee knows, I don't deserve to feel this good. I don't deserve to feel this good, but it's because they don't add any of the sulfites for transport. It's locally produced. So let's go. I'm ready. I'm all in.
Daryl nodding that she likes wine.
I know.
From your trip together to Italy.
My
That's
God.
terrific.
We had another runaway one night, which it's not all about that, but it's about
I know
it's
where
about
you're gonna go.
it's about our moments together, right? So David Foster had done his big
knew
fundraiser in
it.
Edmonton. I don't even know if you remember that. That had to have been 15, 17
Yeah.
years ago. Anyway, so he had his big fundraiser. We emceed the thing at the Windspear, but there was another event at Character. What was it? Characters? No, Lux State House. Lux State House. Was it Chant? Either way, downtown.
Yeah.
It was a small little thing, and we got in there, and then we met up some other people. It was actually David Foster's daughter, Allison, and it just went off the rails.
Exploded.
You didn't stop. So 4 o'clock, we got both poured into cabs, and away we went. So it was another. So that's how I know that Dolly does like a little bit of wine. Apparently, so do I.
The next day was really rough
It
when
was
we
really
both showed
rough.
up at the Windspear to do our actual gig.
We did
Oh my
good.
gosh. We pulled it off, but it was rough. And as soon as I got there, Daryl took one look at me and I looked at him and we burst out laughing. We're like, what did we do last night?
It was just fun.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Blame it on the sulfites.
That's right.
Damn
And
sulfites.
I know.
Reluctantly.
This podcast is reluctantly sponsored by the real estate team of homegirls.ca, a top producing team at Remax Professionals. If you are buying or selling in the Edmonton region, Shauna and Bonnie can handle everything with strong industry connections to mortgage brokers, home inspectors, lawyers, and contractors to support every step of the process. The market is very active right now. We recently listed our home again, and it went from MLS to closing conditions in 8 days. Now, of course, results may vary from property to property, but Shauna and Bonnie have been our trusted real estate advisors through buying and selling no less than 7 properties. I've recommended them to many friends who want real, relatable people with a personalized, hands-on approach. New home, investment, recreational, even commercial properties. Homegirls.ca is the website. Email info is right there. And the phone number is 780-517-HOME.
Reluctantly.
I've never been to Italy. My wife's been to Italy. Jody's been. And we talk about Italy 3 times a day.
Why have you not gone?
I just haven't gone to Italy. I don't know that there's no specific reason. I'd like to go. I want to go. I want to go to the Amalfi Coast. I want to go to Milan. I want to go to Rome. I want to go to the north of Italy. Basically I want to be Stanley Tucci and spend weeks/months there doing all of the food and doing a TV special on all of the stuff that makes me go like that.
Yes. We spend time there because we do work there where we buy old farmhouses. It's a arm of our business, Alexis Restorations. We'll buy these 500-year-old farmhouses and restore them and then sell them. So that's part of the traveling aspect of our life, maps and whatnot. But Tuscany is a very special region, and I think I love it a lot. And Daryl, maybe because it takes you back to your roots a bit. It's just miles and miles of rolling hills, and the shepherd is out there with their sheep, and you see them every day, and the sheepdog, like it's really out of a picture, like out of a book. When you see it's like this actually does exist. It's a really special place on the planet.
Did you just say, Daryl, maybe it takes you back to your roots? McIntyre doesn't sound very Italian to me.
No, but 500 years ago, everybody was all part of the same world.
I
mean our farm roots.
Yeah,
because it's very much.
But to me, it's that connection to history. So being able to, so what's the oldest building in Edmonton? Is it 100 years old, or maybe they're down at Fort Edmonton Park? So we're not talking about a huge amount of history that's left over. Whereas there, you can be walking, you can go up a set of stairs you can see have been worn down by the feet of hundreds and thousands and millions of times over the course of 500 years. So just that connection to history, it's a stunning feeling. So just stop delaying, Terry, and go.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the problem?
I will. Actually, you talk about the 400 or 500-year-old buildings.
Yes.
I do have an experience like that when we went to Scotland. We stayed at Earl's Hall Castle, and Jody found us. It was for her brother, her father, and I. We went to Scotland to do the St. Andrews and all that stuff, but we stayed in a place called Lukers, which is about 8 miles away from St. Andrews. And we stayed in the 120-year-old gatehouse of the Earl's Hall Castle, which is almost 500 years old. And the gentleman and his wife, who are lords, they invited us to his library, and it had a fireplace the size of this room, 15 feet, 8 feet, whatever it was, wide, 15 by 8. And it had the same thing, Daryl, that you're talking about, with the stairs that have been worn by centuries of traffic up and down. And it was phenomenal. So, yeah, I mean, basically what you were referencing before, Carrie, me inviting the two of you to be on this podcast was, to catch up and maybe have a drink with Daryl, and then also to apply for a job on your renovation tour in Italy.
We will need help. We're expanding that way, but it's a gift to be able to go and to see how they live. I really think that they have it figured out over there about life and the whole farm to table concept. And more than anything is the sense of community that is so important to them when they all meet in the square every day, and you can see them visiting with one another, and lunchtime is important, and their siestas are important. And Yeah, it's I have a quick little story if I may. The first farmhouse they call them Italian villas on TV. Technically they're farmhouses, and this one was called, they all have names. It's called Paderi, which means home. Paderi Panico was perched up on a hill 13 miles outside of Siena, Italy. And it had 360-degree views of the Tuscan Valley, and the sunrises and sunsets were so incredible out there. And so that was the first one. Like I said, 500 years old, the story in it. We did a coffee table book about it. Was the commander of the French army and his troops actually stayed there because it was along their walking path. And then it was abandoned, but it was owned by the count and the countess of the region. The count has since passed. The countess owns the property. So we had to get all of those permissions to restore. And we're coming up to, after a 2.5 year restoration process, and there's probably 50 artisans, and they are artists in their own right that do the work. So we're hosting parties for them, like at separate nights, to celebrate them and their achievements. And our Italian architect, Fulvio, said to us, Carrie, Stephen, you need to go visit with Elisabetta. She's the countess. And we're like, Fulvio, we don't have time. And he goes, no, 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 that's not an option here. You make time. You always make time. So it was a Monday afternoon. We accepted their invitation. They were overjoyed, and they lived a mile down the road. And this was like, I'll never forget this story because it was like a scene out of a movie. So we go down the little windy Tuscan road, gravel road, to Elisabetta and her husband John's place. It's another restored farmhouse. As we drive in, they love their horses. She's in her small corral riding her horse, and it was like something out of a movie. She looks over, she gives a wave, and she comes over on this gorgeous horse. And she has this long graying, her hair was graying, braid down her back. She's in her chaps, boots, her polo shirt and collar up. She gets off her horse and she says, Carrie, Stephen, the two kisses, what a gift it is to celebrate you this afternoon. Please, please come into our home. And we walk in and I'm like, where am I? Right? Like, this is crazy. Her husband is an art dealer based out of London. There's opera music playing in their house. It's beautiful, but it's homey. The cat was crawling all over, and John comes out, and it looked like an art gallery in there. There were so many paintings. Comes out with the champagne. Please sit. We were going to go for an hour. 3 hours later, and several bottles of champagne. And we had the greatest time. But what struck me so much is she looked us at me and Stephen and I and said, we cannot thank you enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing Panico back to life. She has sat on top of that hill for 500 years, abandoned. And finally, someone came along and breathed life into her. We are forever grateful to you. And I'm like, wow. Wow. It was a beautiful afternoon. It was such a gift. I'll never forget that experience. That really touched me because it showed what Fulvio said is how important those personal relationships are. And she wanted to get to know the people who did this, and she needed to spend time with us. So, little side story.
I've also, from what I understand, it's also very important for people in those regions with the dilapidated and abandoned structures for them to be maintained. There, a lot of times they don't have the means to do
That's
it
right.
themselves, or the city or the county or the equivalent
right.
in Italy wouldn't have the means to do it. So when somebody comes in to do it, then it's greatly appreciated. So
It
and
is.
Daryl, have you ever seen those? Every once in a while it pops up on Instagram saying, hey, you can buy this property in Italy for $1 and they'll give you 3 years and 30,000, whatever it is, to restore it. Is that a scam? Maybe we should do that. Let's go over and be neighbors with Carrie.
It's not a scam. Actually, I have a friend, and they have she's Italian. She has family, and they still own a property in some small town. But it's no value because the amount of money that would be required to fix up that one particular spot, it's just nobody wants it. So it's just decays. And so, yeah, you might get a little bit of help, but the amount you're going to have to invest further afterward. And so if it's the right place, like the place that Carrie and Stephen fixed up, then that's great because then it can become something. In some of these places, it's going to be surrounded by others who are not in great shape. So it's not a scam, but it could be the ultimate money pit in an awful hurry. So I think you'd have to be very careful. Although I'd love to be neighbors with you, Terry. It'd be lovely. Come on out to the
Ditto.
island. We can get it figured out. The great thing is, why I heard that story before from Carrie. So at the acreage, I used to, when we were having people out, I would get Mary to go out on the corral, put on a polo shirt and a chap, and then just ride around, and then we'd introduce people that way, and they wouldn't leave for 3 hours either. So it worked out, I think, the way it was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So did you live in Sturgeon County or Parkland County?
Parkland County.
When the Parkland County custodial engineers and sanitation engineers came around, what a gift it is to see you this afternoon.
Thank you for caring for our county. Indeed.
Mary doing that too.
I can't understand why Carrie hasn't just killed me at some point, because the Brits have a term where you're always taking the piss, right? That's a term they use where you're oh yeah, and they'll make fun of somebody. So that's always what I've done, which can be fun. It can also be really obnoxious, but Carrie's always allowed me to continue to be that.
I laughed
little bugger.
more with you. I mean, during commercial breaks, I'd usually be collapsed on the desk laughing
was
at
my job.
something that you said. I mean, we shared so many laughs. That's why I didn't kill you, Dee. I loved you too much.
Okay. So humor, just like the awkward kid in school. As long as I was funny, I wasn't going to get beat up. That's good. That works.
Out on Vancouver Island, out there in the Comox Valley, I know that your in-laws are out there, and that's the connection that drew you to Vancouver Island.
Yeah, we've been coming out visiting here for some 30 years. Since Mary and I got married, we've been coming out here. So
yeah. So has there always been, like, growing up as a farm boy in north central Alberta, was there always a draw to the water, or did it develop over the course of your relationship with Mary and her family and that sort of thing, or was it always there?
To an extent, but it developed out of the adventures in books. It was in books that I thought, I think it'd be wonderful to be by the sea and all the romantic natures of it. So when I finally got to get to the sea, it was the first time I was on a ferry going over to Victoria, and it just so happened, I think it was low tide, and the seaweed had come in, and I went, this is not the smell I was hoping for. Because it just, it can be, the sea can sometimes not smell as good as you would want it to. But over the years, I just loved it. We got to go on a sailing trip. So Mary's dad was able to rent one of the. There's a yacht club at the military base. It's subsidized for military members so that they can have an opportunity to be out on the water. We're now a part of that club because we got sponsored by Mary's dad. But he rented one of the boats. And we went over to a place called Desolation Sound. This had to have been 20 years ago. And just being on that boat and going and basically camping on a boat, that kind of clicked. And so that is what I am aiming to do now. I was able to go with a friend from the club in March. So it was March, and we were on a sailboat, and we went over to Desolation Sound, spent 3 nights there, and tooled around, looked at a bunch of things, and it was just brilliant. So yeah, it's a pretty cool way to live. It's a cool. Well, if you're here and the ocean's right there, get a boat. Find a boat. Get access to a boat. Anyway,
Right.
that's the plan.
I was going to say, so Terry, if you go visit Daryl, by that time you get your butt out there, he should be a sailing expert. And if you guys come far enough south, you can come find me.
And I can rent a boat in San Diego. We'll go for a rip.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a plan.
Why don't we just sail all the way down there instead
That's
of
what I'm
renting a boat?
saying.
There's lots of people from around
That's
here
what I
who
mean.
do.
Sail down.
Just sail down. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Just
2-week
sail on
trip.
down.
Sail on down.
Do
it'd be very cool.
you still have the dogs? Do you take the dogs on the boat, or are they?
No. 165-pound Great Dane, a 95-pound Lab, and a 75-pound Golden Retriever. Well, I want to bring the 12-pound cat too. No, the dogs are not going. There's a little too much dog. I need an awful lot of boat for all that dog. So.
The only reason I asked is because I wanted the reaction.
That's as good a reason to ask a question as any.
Yeah. Do you find yourself saying things like knots and spinnaker a lot now?
What's a spinnaker?
It's a sail. It's-
The Spinnaker is a sale?
yeah. Google
Oh.
it. Dolly, Google it.
How
I'm not
many
your
times
Google.
have I heard that? Yes, you are. You always have been.
Carrie would never look anything. Well, sometimes she would, but
I
she would just go,
ask you.
D-Mac, what? D, what is this? And I said, well, just Google it, Dolly. I don't have to. You're there. Tell me.
He was my Google.
That was her
I'm like,
Google.
why bother? I'll just ask him. It's faster. I get a faster answer.
Might not have anything to do with the question, but you'll get a faster answer.
I know. I was never afraid to ask the question, though.
That's true. Very true. It's funny that for both of us spent so much time in Alberta and in Edmonton. Edmonton is home still. It all probably always will be. But now we're both located in different locations, and I've had a few people go, "Oh, what'd you leave for?" And it's not because there was anything wrong with where we were. It's just when I retired, I just wanted to try something different and live differently. So I spent 60 years of my life in Alberta, and it was awesome, and I think it'll always be home. But these new experiences and getting to try different things, it's a big world. So I'm very privileged to be able to be here. And wife and I bought the house that Mary's dad bought in 1977. So it's a 1928 Tudor style house in the heart of Courtenay, and the ocean's right there, and the Puntledge River's right there, and there's a mountain right behind us, and we can go hiking and biking and swimming and sailing and all the things. That it's just cool to have that opportunity. So.
Is there any desire to? I know that you're still doing auctioneering and emceeing when the opportunity arises. Is there any desire to have a semi-retirement business at all, or develop anything that?
I started and then I found out I really like being retired. So I'm still available to do things, and I'm happy. And I come back once a month to every 4 to 6 weeks to see my mom and visit her. So I can work. I work around things, but I'm not exactly marketing myself very, very hard anymore. So if something comes up, it's great. But I really enjoy my job these days. Has been learning to sail and learning to do other things, and so I've been sort of focused in on that a little bit. We live pretty quietly, and so I don't travel very much anymore because we have the island we want to explore. So for the next few years, we'll probably stay here and figure that out. So yeah, I'm still ready to work, but just not pushing very hard, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, your website is not functioning.
Because I took it down. I took it down. I figured, well, why am I still paying for it when I'm not even
Right.
in anything? And especially since I'm not there all the time. I'm not on. I was working at Ched for 3 years, and so you still had that public exposure, and I don't have that anymore. So then you have to go out and grind and work and say, hey, I'm available. I'm available to do that and to work at it a little bit. Honest to God, I'm just retired and lazy at the moment. So maybe in a couple of years,
Good for
I'll
you.
jump in again.
Yeah, I think it's terrific, and there's no reason to apologize for it, and I don't think it's something that should be categorized or described as lazy. There's nothing wrong with getting up when your eyes open rather than to an obnoxious noise that comes from your phone or another mechanical device.
It's because when I worked in broadcasting in some form for 41 years, and I know that you've been around for at least as long as that, or probably actually a lot more than that. But it's just, I'm good. Did it. But it still feels like, well, I really should be trying to accomplish something more. Well, I am accomplishing something more. I'm learning to sail so that you and I can go rip down the west coast of the U.S. and go visit Dolly in San Diego. So,
do you recall the password to your LinkedIn account?
No, it just naturally, it just populates.
Okay. Because it still says that you're getting up every morning on 880 Ched doing the morning.
I think I put in a now former at one point. I just haven't changed everything else. Yeah. Oh, well.
Right. It's the bio part down below. That
thanks, Terry.
Yeah.
I'll take care of that. Thanks.
You'll take care of it whenever you feel like it. Carrie, you on the other hand, you've got a lot of stuff going on between Luxus VIP and your podcast and your consulting and Jesus, every time I turn on Instagram, there's another Carrie Doll something or other there.
Well,
you have more Instagram accounts than I do for this.
I don't know about that, but Ish, I guess. I've been winding it down quite a bit over the last couple of years. I put my podcast on ice for a while. Published however many few hundred episodes and felt it was just time. Sometimes, your intuition screams at you, and I listened and I'm like, I'm gonna put this on ice, but I still coach quite a bit. It's usually CEOs, and I wrote a course on public speaking. And I still do one-on-one coaching with executives on getting comfortable in front of the mic and how to do that. And so I do enjoy that. I love to see them step onto a stage, whatever that looks like, and step into themselves and feel comfortable doing that. But other than that, Lexus is very busy. It's growing in a variety of different directions. We have our Lexus restorations, we have our vacation properties and developments. We partnered recently with Four Seasons Group, and we're building a couple towers out in it's 15 minutes from the Strip in Las Vegas. So we're doing 2 towers in the community of McDonald's Highlands, and the Four Seasons approached us, and they are now the namesake of those residences. So one of the reasons, there were several reasons about the move to the U.S. It's like how Daryl says it. Edmonton, Sherwood Park, that whole area will forever be home. It will forever have my heart, and I will bleed orange and blue until the day I die. Like we don't miss an Oilers game, but it was so difficult because Stephen was traveling so much that he was away from us all the time. And at some point, you have to decide what direction your life has to go when doors open, and are you willing to step through them? And it just made a lot more sense for us, business-wise, family-wise, for us to be down here. I can't tell you how it simplified our life, that the amount of traveling doesn't have to do that much anymore. And if it is a trip to Vegas, it's not even 45 minutes on the airplane to get there. And it can be a day trip there and back. So it's simplified in many, many ways. So that's what brought us down here. But I brought this out because I wear it all the time.
It is not a party until the Canadian shows up.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I should have just wore that.
You should have just worn it. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have. But I'm always going to be a Canadian. We have something called an E2 visa that allows us to be down here and working. Our son Cash, who is 18, is taking a gap year, and he's now in conversations with a few colleges. He wants to play college golf. Stephen played college golf for the University of Idaho. He wants to follow in Dad's footsteps. So it's a lot easier to golf year round down here, and he works hard at it. So when he just doesn't have any preconceived notions that he wants to go to the show, he wants to play college golf and get a good education. And our daughter Allegra's 15, and she's a beach volleyball player. So makes life a little bit easier. We can get in your car and 12 minutes you're at the beach, or 1 minute you're on the golf course. It's simplified our life in unimaginable ways, but it doesn't mean like it was a challenging move to say goodbye to family and friends, and monumental changes. Like, do you know that on Wednesday I have to take a driver's test down here?
Oh.
I almost failed the learner's exam. Can someone, okay, so I had to go in order to get a California driver's license, you have to take a learner's exam, and that's the multiple choice thing. And I guess you can get 3 wrong. Can someone please tell me when the hand position on the wheel changed from 10 and 2 to 9 and 3? Have I been living under a rock?
Well, I think
Did you know that,
that's when they started putting airbags in steering wheels.
Oh, so that's why.
Well done, Mr.
Wow.
Google. Even if he's wrong, he delivered that like he knew it was right.
And I believed him
That's
too.
impressive.
Well,
I mean, I'm hook, line, and sinker.
It makes sense. Don't go 10 to 2.
so
It'll
it's
blow
now
your damn
9 and
hands
3.
off.
Yeah. Daryl, how far to the nearest golf course at your place?
5 minutes.
Oh,
5
okay.
minutes.
5 minutes. Well, it's 1 minute at Carrie's place. So I don't know. That'll have a bearing on who I visit first.
Yeah. We'll set up a lovely itinerary in battle.
Yes.
Let's see, San Diego
Oh,
or
I
the
will.
Comox Valley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who has more bourbon in their fridge right now?
Where are you pointing? You?
At you.
Oh, I don't have bourbon. No.
Oh, you don't have bourbon?
No, I don't have
What?
bourbon. That's Scotch.
Oh, well, I know you got Scotch.
No
I just
Scotch.
wondered if you had any bourbon.
No. couple of
Okay.
bottles of Jim Beam that came with a bottle of scotch for some reason. I don't know why.
Are they the little tiny ones that were held onto the neck?
Yeah, those are the ones.
Plastic.
Good Lord.
Oh man.
Uh,
So I thought, well, just as I was signing on, I thought maybe I should do just a few just random questions
Okay.
that and give
Okay.
you each an opportunity to answer the same question.
Okay. Do we have time limit on these question and answer sessions?
No, there's no
see,
time. No, you can talk as long
why are
or
you
as
looking
short
at me?
as you'd like to. Because the big thing is, just like morning radio, it's prime time. It's the 6 o'clock newscast, being on the anchor desk for the 6 p.m. news. Carrie, your first 6 p.m. anchor desk story, what was that?
Like the first one I ever
Your
read?
very first 6 p.m. anchor. This is it. I'm on the show. This is the 6 p.m. What was
Uh,
where?
It was in Edmonton, but I was filling in. I was
And
filling in for Shauna Randolph.
who was with
Yes.
Daryl at the time?
Yes. I was the noon hour anchor with Joel Gottlieb. And then when Shauna would leave or had a day off, they'd pull me up. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I don't remember what the first story was, but I remember when the music rolled and I'm like, here we go. It was like a lot of nervous energy.
I bet.
It was
Daryl?
so cool.
So, well, because doing the 6, they're doing the supper time newscast, that was always considered to be the pinnacle. That's the one you aim for. So,
Right.
Edmonton, or did it matter where? So my first,
Anyway, your first one.
my
Your
first supper
first
time
6
newscast,
o'clock. Yeah.
where I was the full time anchor. I'd filled in Lloydminster a few times, and I don't really remember that because it was fill in, so I didn't think of it in those terms at that time. But the first time, when I got the job in Prince George, I got a job in Prince George doing the supper hour, which actually was 5. Their supper hour newscast was at 5 o'clock, and I was taking over for a guy who Carrie knows by the name of Hudson Mack. Hudson Mack
yes.
ended up becoming, he was the president of the News Directors Association for a few years. He ended up in Victoria, and he was in Victoria forever. He retired here he actually got blown up by the same manager that I got blown up by, strangely enough, at CTV. Anyway, so I was taking over for Hudson. Hudson was best friends with the news director at the time. I'd never even met these people. I'd never gone to Prince George. I got the job over the phone, basically, and with a resume tape, and on Bruce Hogel's recommendation from CFR in Edmonton, because I'd talked to him. Anyway, so I show up there. I'm now going to be taking over for a legend. I think I'm 20 years old, taking over from a local legend who's the best friend of the news director. And I just got on and I shook the set with fear and trepidation for 3 weeks. For 3 weeks, I sucked so hard, I thought each day I was going to get fired because it was horrible. At one point, the news director, Mike Woodworth was his name, who always called everybody Big Bud. Big Bud, what the hell's going on? Like, I'm going to have to let you go if you don't just pull your head out of your ass. Let's go. And so it was just sort of at that moment, well, either my career is going to die or I'm going to get over this crippling fear and pressure that I'm feeling and move forward. And that's sort of when I kind of went, all right, well, stop being ridiculous and just get at it. So my first memory was abject fear and shaking the set like it was an earthquake. It got better.
It sure did.
Did it ever for you? To be totally honest, my first 6 o'clock was not with you, D-Man.
God,
Because I
now
read
I find out.
weekends. I read weekends. So I was at ITV and I read the weekends at ITV. I also read weekends. No, I didn't in Lethbridge. I worked there. No, it would have been ITV 6 o'clock with John Sexsmith.
Sexy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
John Sexsmith.
Uh-huh.
John Sexsmith was the DJ at my wedding.
Was he really? He's
My
such
second wedding.
Did he use the line that I've been seeing so often? Hey, welcome back, everybody. Great to see you all again. And then what's the follow-up line? Oh, there's a few faces. Point to the bride.
Yeah.
Few new faces.
Okay, wardrobe malfunction. Daryl.
Oh God.
It's a suit and tie. There's no malfunction there. The worst would be is if I dropped a bunch of coffee and I had to skew my tie slightly one way or the other to cover up a stain. Men had it so easily with wardrobes. No, I had no wardrobe malfunction. Dolly, yours.
Oh, do you remember one?
No. Well,
I don't think they're.
I think you popped a button every now and then. The last second, I had to go and fix it or get it fixed. I always had a sewing kit. I think I sewed a button on it for you a couple of times. That's about it.
Do you know it wasn't a wardrobe malfunction? It was like an appearance malfunction. There was, I was born without an eye tooth here, so I had to get a bridge, and I had a temporary one in, and literally remember that it was 20 minutes before the 6:00 news or half an hour, and my tooth broke, and I had a half tooth right here, and you burst out laughing, and I'm like smiling. I'm like, I think I said to Jackie, our director, I was like, can I go on the air like this? And she's like, hell no, Dolly, you're busting a gut. So no, it was earlier in the day. I thought I could get to the dentist in time there and back with my tooth fixed. And I don't think I made it.
No. That's funny.
Do you two remember a case of the giggles? A case of the giggles where neither one of you could or one or the other of you couldn't rein it in, and it just kept going?
Terry, there were too many.
Yeah.
There
There's
were
a few on tape.
so many.
There's a few that are still around for some bloopers and it was usually in some toss coming off, something with Clausen or Ian Leonard at the time, back before Clausen was in, and we would just lose it. But it was not during the hard newscast portions. It was during the chit chat time. So
yes,
there was more a few times we just end up you sprawl across a desk because you couldn't sit up anymore.
I remember one, and we couldn't help ourselves when John Barry was on the air and he was doing the weather, and he was on location everywhere. He was on skates, remember, on an ice rink, and he was doing the weather, and he slipped and he went backwards, like he just went whoop.
Could have been scary,
and it was scary, but we couldn't help but to laugh, and we were laughing so hard, and then we're like, oh my gosh, John, are you okay? Like, are you sure? He gets up, he's all covered in snow. I'm good, and he still couldn't find his footing. We laughed, we collapsed in laughter on that. Yeah, that was
he
funny.
also called us Carol and Daryl one night. Thanks, Carol and Daryl. And those when you don't expect it, it's not that funny now, but at the time, oh my God, it was hilarious.
Yes.
No, I was probably drinking with him at Don Cherry's before that. That's why.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Sulfites in the wine, just blame that.
Oh, why not?
On a scale, and I don't know if you guys ever did this together, but I'm just going to assume you did at some point. Mm-hmm. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you miss narrating the Klondike Days parade?
So, I hate parades. Like, I don't enjoy them. You can say that I'm just playing the role of curmudgeon or crabby man. I hate parades. But I sucked it up, and I put on my little Klondike outfit, and I'd go out there and I'd do my best. Oh, here come the Shriners. They got their little cars going. That's great. Look at them go. It's a precision group, this one. So
and they're still coming.
They're still coming. There's 1,200 of them in this particular section. So, yeah. Well, they used to have us dress up, too. We used to have to dress up, so the men all looked like riverboat gamblers and the women looked like they were for sale. That's the way everyone had oh, God.
And then we would just sweat our butts off.
It's brutal. The only thing that was fun about it is we got to see people. Like, because we were always locked in a studio, basically. We had the cameraman, and then eventually they got replaced by robots. You had a floor director. So to actually get out and visit with people and say hi to people, that part would be fun. Not a freaking parade, no.
You see, he makes me laugh till I cry. When I think back on that, as soon as I would show up, he'd go under his breath, I hate parades. I hate parades. Hey, everybody, it's Klondike Days. Let's celebrate. And that's why it'd be hard for me to keep it together, because before he's like, I can't believe we're doing this again. But it honestly, it was fun.
It was fun. My role was to be the crusty curmudgeon. So it was almost like that was my job. And Carrie's like, I love a parade. Although this used to drive me nuts. She ended up doing it to drive me nuts. Because the big parade for the Thanksgiving Day in the U.S., the United States of America, it was sponsored by Macy's. And she would call it just piss me off. She'd call it, "Hey, Daryl, it's the Macy's Day Parade. It's the Macy's Day." It's not. It's a freaking Macy's Day Parade. It's just, she would just grind it in.
I would text him after I
She would
leave.
text
Did
me.
you watch a Macy's Day Parade? He's like, "Oh, Dolly, you're killing me.
Yeah.
You're
Anyway,
killing me."
there you go. Parades. Thank you for that.
I have quite enjoyed this.
Good.
Oh, as have I.
I was
As
reluctant.
have I.
Yeah, I was reluctant for 10 years to even start this podcast. That's why I named it that. But
Indeed.
Do you love it?
I've developed a joy for this that I didn't anticipate.
Mhm.
Yes, it's the long form.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
there was a time where, we're like the old Terry, Bill, and Steve show. We didn't play music. We just talked for 3.5 hours every day, and then we went back to music, and then all kinds of different changes happened, as you know. And I mean, now if you can't say it in less than 3 minutes, they don't really want you to say it, sort of
right.
thing. So being able to do the long form and visit with interesting people and people I love, like the two of you, and it's just I actually am enjoying it, and I look forward to it. So like I said, thank you. I've really enjoyed this.
Well, listen, thank
Likewise.
you for being that voice in our city, like for me and for thousands of others for so many years. Because that's how I used to. I'm like, what's everybody really talking about? So I'd go from 6:30 Ched to hear the news, and then I'd go, what's everyone really talking about? And I'd change to you guys. And I'd listen to what all the hot button topics were of the day. And you just brought so much joy into my mornings. You'd have me laughing my butt off on the way to work all the time. So thank you for those gifts all those years.
Well, I appreciate that. And
Ditto.
yeah, it's been a minute since I've seen you, Carrie. Daryl and I just we hung out. We just had lunch not too long ago,
Yeah,
and we
not
hung
long
out
ago.
last summer at Tim and Trish's place in Shoe Swap. And
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm
yeah.
glad that you guys keep in touch that way. And I think what the gift in all this is, and so many of us that were on the air at the same time, is you could just pick up right where you left off. And we were all doing it at the time, and feel we crossed paths many times. There were a few Jasper and Januaries in there that we enjoyed and had some good times at. And I just think that my whole career was a gift. It really was to be able to do what I did and get paid for literally a hobby for years, but also get to work with such amazing people. And I'm not like yourselves. I mean, that's a wonderful privilege.
Same with you, Daryl. Gift.
Oh, absolutely. No, I don't end up phrasing it the same way, and that's why Dolly and I worked well together. But you can't look at that and say that was a hard
Yin and yang,
work.
baby.
Yin and yang, baby. No, I appreciate it all, and that's why
Yeah.
to tell you the truth, I don't have the same energy, the same desire, the same commitment that I would have had back then. So I have no desire to get back into broadcasting again. Been there, done that, gave it everything I had, and I could not do it justice now.
Mhm.
And so I wouldn't even try. Not even going to go down there.
And for
And
me,
you're still-
the gift just keep giving.
Terry, you are the gift that keeps on giving, buddy.
Yes. Yeah, I'm into that.
Reluctantly.
This podcast reluctantly sponsored by homegirls.ca, a top producing team at Remax Professionals, and thompsonmortgages.com. They take care of the financials. You search for your perfect home. If you're searching for a home in the Edmonton area, please use both of these fine sponsors.
Reluctantly.